Which scales are glossy?
Hello? Ew, what are you saying?
Which glossy scale?
They're all glossy.
So he's just rubbing any old scale? Welcome back to Seeker and Confessor, a Sword of Truth podcast. I'm your host, Frank.
And I'm Lauren.
And today we'll be covering Chapter 48 of A Wizard's First Rule by Terry Goodkind.
All right. And we are caught up. Episode number, chapter number, they match.
In sync, as they say.
And we'll end it that way.
Yes, we will.
We're going to do chapter 48, and then we have one final chapter left.
49's a doozy, so get ready to lock in with us for potentially a 3-hour episode. I don't know.
It's going to be long. We don't feel like, we thought about it. We don't feel like splitting it into two.
No.
Just sounds annoying. We just kind of want to be able to talk about everything, know the ending, and go.
Exactly.
So this is the last episode before we are completed.
This is the penultimate stop.
Yeah.
On the Wizard's First Rule train.
Right. But the next time you see us, we will be in the know.
Yes. Right now we don't technically know.
Technically we don't know.
Maybe I know a little, but
we know some things.
I know some things. But
there
not
will
everything.
definitely be surprises.
Twists and turns.
There definitely will be.
And that chapter's like 20 pages, so we're going to have a lot to talk about.
Really long, really long. I don't know. You think we're going to be able to...
We are. We're locking the hell in.
Get ready, 5
That's
hours.
5-hour episode.
Let's say, what do we feel about this chapter in general? And then, like, in the context specifically as the second to last chapter, how did we feel about it?
It felt like a little bit of... We had to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it feels like a little bit of, like, making everything line up. And there were some key points that we'll get to that I'm just kind of like, oh, we're just introducing new big concepts right at the end here. Mostly in terms of, like, Zedd talking to Chase about, like, the Rahl lineage and things like that. I'm like, yeah, that could have been earlier in the book.
It didn't. I feel like it would have just improved things to learn that earlier, and I don't know how much it added learning it now.
Other than it will be necessary in the next chapter. Yeah, I think so. But,
why?
You know, I just think because there's going to be a whole thing about how Richard himself is a Rahl, and that's why he got powers from being here, and like the magical families and like the importance of magical lineage. I'm sure Rahl's going to go on a couple of spiels about it. These are the absolute worst traveling companions in existence in terms of getting you ready for things.
My God.
And this is why the Wizard's rules work, because as long as you don't fucking tell anyone anything, they can get tricked, and then you're such a genius.
It's just, honestly,
yeah,
filled with some of the least intelligent people this world that I've ever come across.
Yeah, I think it's just the IQ is much lower in this world.
We've said that before. Yeah. I think that is canon, and we have to accept that about it.
I do.
Okay, so should we get right in, or you have anything else you want to say?
No, let's go.
Do you want your soundboard set up?
I always got that.
I didn't know.
On lock, right? I always got that.
Don't be rude. Just making sure. We left off last with a crazy scene. Devin, no balls. Kaelin, Kondar.
Yep.
Kaelin hustling, power walking to the People's Palace. Chase and Zedd like, wait up. We open this chapter. We're back with Richard. Mm-hmm. Last we left him, he was running away from Michael's tent into the night, and he stole a horse.
Yes, he did.
So we're back with him.
Still on the horse.
He's sad. He's on the horse. He's being rained on. He's been looking for Kaelin, Zedd, and Chase, and he has not found them because that's probably really hard to do. And he's barely rested. He mentions it's been cloudy ever since he left Michael.
Of course.
Naturally. So that means Scarlet has not been able to fly because she might hit into rocks, and she has
in the
not...
sky. Yeah, she was extremely explicit about that.
Right.
So.
She has not found him, so he's just been wandering around. He is... Yeah, he's on top of a mountain.
Yeah. Good spot to go. He's thinking ahead.
Yeah, he's all the way up there, and he's hitting the top of the pass, and he's about to go back down the other side of the mountain, and he feels that everything was conspiring against him. The fates indeed do work for Darken Rahl. I kind of liked that.
Yeah.
I liked bringing that back. I was like, I don't remember if Darken Rahl has said that to Richard. Like, has he ever said that? I know we know Darken Rahl thinks that.
He said it to Demon.
I don't know if Richard would know that or not.
Oh, but I think he said it to Demon in Richard's presence.
He?
Yeah, I think. But Richard was also blitzed out of his head, but whatever. Maybe he took it in.
But yeah, I like the idea of him feeling that way. But then it is a little silly because you're like, the message of the book is like, no, the fates, that's true, but it's working for him.
Actually. It's actually Richard's luck.
And even though sometimes it seems like the fates are working against you, they're actually setting you up perfectly for where you need to go.
It'd be like prophecy, but also
it's
Nophacy.
Do you ever wonder things like that? You're like, that is true for Richard because he is a big magical special man.
Yes, he is. Yeah.
And am I supposed to take away and that's happening for me too? Because I'm not a big special man. Is it happening to all the peasants?
Don't say that. Don't say that.
Think?
You are a big special man to me.
You think?
Of course.
Thank you.
Yeah, don't put yourself down like that.
But you know what I'm saying? Like, is the message that is really only working in Richard's favor because he's Richard? Or is the message, like, that is true of everyone unless it's not?
Hard to say with Terry.
I don't know.
I kind of think, like, one day he'd lean on that and be like, yeah, of course. Like, everyone believes. Like, you set yourself up for your own reality and, like, what you're open to is exactly what you're going to get. Yeah. But I think on other days he'd be like, no, Richard is
That's just
such a special boy.
It's just because of Richard. Scarlet's going to reaffirm that for how special he is when she shows up.
Yes, that's
all she talks about.
He's just a rare gem.
As he's going down the other side of the mountain pass, he thinks that the dawn is bringing the first day of winter, the last day of freedom. And it's all gonna end soon.
It won't ring anymore.
Either Darken Rahl's dying, either Darken Rahl rules everything, or either everyone's dead.
Yeah.
And so he sleeps under a little overhang, and he thinks about what he has to do to help Darken Rahl and to keep Kaelin away from the Mord-Sith. Yeah. And he thinks, well, you know what? Even if Darken Rahl's not lying to me and he lets me live, I'm still going to have to be touched by Kaelin because I have to confirm that the Book of Counted Shadows is real, and then I'm confessed. So
I'm fucked.
Like, does that even matter that I'm going to be alive? And
yeah, he's like, he'll probably kill me anyway, but if he doesn't, I'm confessed. And then I'll probably just die or something.
I mean, I don't know why he doesn't think, what animal should I be?
That's what I'd be thinking.
Right. What animal should I be turned into?
What sick bird of prey, or I'd be an ostrich or some shit, like just on the plains of Dahara.
If I'm getting confessed, I might as well brophy my way through life.
Might as well.
You're gonna pick an ostrich?
I don't know.
Why?
Oh, they book it, you know?
That's all you're after in this life.
What else am I going? Well, no, I'd probably take a flightful bird.
That's what.
At the very least. Well, he likes flying. We find that out.
Oh, God. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, you'd think he'd start being like, maybe a falcon, maybe a
dragon.
If you could, definitely do that.
Right.
But he could go live with Birdman and be taken care of.
He could.
And he could fly all he wants.
Yeah. The mud people, I think, would be very kind to the seeker bird.
Yeah. You know, it's an option, just saying.
Wait, totally different series now where it's like Animorphs with Tobias, but Richard's he's like an eagle with the sword and he's just flying it into people like. There you go. Yeah, just like fucking like Birdman! Stabbing people with the sword.
Okay, just like Ajax work on his project, that could be your project.
Alright. Get me out of here.
What part of the story is that? So anyway, he's sleeping, he's thinking, and he's thinking about it again. If he helps Darken Rahl, he's like, that means that Zedd is probably going to die realistically because Darken Rahl's after that man. And if he helps Darken Rahl gain every power of everything, then yeah, he'll probably kill Zedd. And he's like, but it'll help many more live. And it says, quote, live under the brutal rule of Darken Rahl, but live nonetheless. I still think this is interesting because, like I've said,
yeah,
for people who want to die at the normal life inconveniences, right?
I know.
Normal ass inconveniences of being like, I can't date a person.
Like literally Romeo and Juliet level suicide immediately.
Yeah, like I can't date someone, I want to die. Someone I know has died, I want to die. These things happen normally. Like, you don't need a dictator wizard to get there.
I don't think so.
They think that they should die over those things, but he's like, potential eternal torture. It's better if they live. These things don't match for me.
That's what it's like.
But there is something coming up that will maybe explain this. That's all I'll say. But I'm just
I want to hear about that when we get there. But it's just kind of like, he doesn't want to be on the hook.
No, that's what he says.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Right.
He literally says that. He says Richard couldn't bear the thought of being responsible for everyone and everything dying. That's fair.
Fair. But he's not responsible. So much of Terryisms and all these things are like personal responsibility. Darken Rahl is responsible for killing everyone.
But
you're not helping him rule everyone. So like a toddler, he's going to murder everybody. That's not your fault.
I get, but okay, yeah. But Richard, he's still on a journey to coming to conclusions like that. I feel like maybe future Richard will think of it that way, but he's still actually. Yeah, like I think he's still in his boyish part of the journey where he still takes on.
It seems black and white too. It's like, it's either if I don't help him, this happens, and then that's my fault.
Yeah, and I think I would by being given the choice where you could stop it by doing something. Now you do kind of feel like, well, then if I don't do that, I'm in some way responsible.
Yeah.
I do understand that. I think that's totally reasonable, even if Richard's like, that seems like a really bad outcome for everybody living under Darken Rahl. I just can't stomach the idea of letting it all shut down.
Yeah.
And there is something that makes sense about that, in that by existing, you at least always have the hope of someone figuring a way to break out of it.
Of course.
Right?
Yeah.
There's always a chance, I don't know, all the ghosts of the underworld spill out and take over.
As they should.
I don't know. Who the fuck knows? There's always some way maybe you could get out.
It's like 80% of fantasy books that start with this sort of thing. It's like, would you all rather be dead or have like one hobbit give it a shot?
It's like, maybe we'll risk it. But it is funny, like, and contradictory with, again, like, just how easily they think it's not worth living anymore.
I know,
and then I'm like, this is so much worse than all of those things.
Personal pain versus like global like death. It's just they can't tolerate even the tiniest of bumps for themselves.
Well, and then you're like, this could be like, their existence could functionally be that of being in constant Mord-Sith torture, right?
24/7 Mord-Sith.
I mean, it could. If that's what Darken Rahl feels like he wants to do, that's what could happen.
And
so
I think we should help him towards that goal. I think that personally, we could all use most of our waking hours and some of our sleeping hours under Denna's watchful hand.
Well, I don't know that they're going to all personally get a hot Mord-Sith to do it to them.
Constance is dead, so that's it. The rest of them are hot. Trust me.
But there's not enough for everyone on the globe.
He controls life. He'll make more.
Yeah, I guess you're right. He could.
And they're all going to be hot like
Denna. No, anyway.
You see that braid?
I feel you, but I'm saying he could have them be at that level of torture without the Mord-Sith present. Again, he could make a million Samuels to do this to everyone.
Slamming that death button like real hard.
Right. So I'm saying Richard, who knows the extent to which you can be tortured even without having I rule everything powers. She was just a lady with some powers.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, wouldn't you think of like, what's the worst case scenario with everyone existing under this? And it's like that plus. And wouldn't you be like, having gone through that, I definitely wanted to die more than I wanted that.
Oh.
And then, like, I just feel like it's weird that it's never a thought. He's just like, surely it won't be that bad. I don't know. Surely it could be hell.
Surely the guy who made her would make worse things if given infinite power.
Yeah, nobody, like, and I don't think we're ever going to think about it. He's just going to be like, life seems better than death. And again, I do understand. I'm not saying it's an easy choice. I understand being like making the decision of killing everybody is crazy and I don't want to.
Yeah.
But he's never just entertaining the thought of the alternative also being really bad. Like, he's like being like, yeah, well, that's bad because Darken Rahl. But I'm like, no, really think about it.
You're right.
I just think it's funny coming off of so much torture to not entertain the idea of a lot of human.
Well, he got a renewed sense of vigor. He's like, I really like being alive, you know? Now that I got out of these shackles.
But he might just be putting everybody back in them.
He's like, I did it. You can do it. It's not that bad,
Anyway,
guys.
I just think it's kind of a weird oversight. Richard's, as he's trying to fall asleep, he mentions that his ribs still hurt from Denna. It's really hard for him to get comfortable. Yeah. It's hard for him to breathe. He always has nightmares about her, the nightmares he promised her he would have, which has a nice poetic, like, something to it. I like it.
It does.
I like that he said it, and it was said in such a emotional way that came from a real place of love.
Yeah.
But then it's also, like, actually very bad in reality.
It's like, yeah, the like promise was, it really is traumatic, and he is suffering, but it is that thing that he gave to her at the end.
Yeah, I like the duality of that.
I agree. Yeah.
Good job, Terry. He dreams specifically that he's being tortured and Michael is watching, and he also dreams that he's watching Kaylin being tortured and Michael is also there watching. I kind of thought that was good.
Me too. That's intense. Like, right? That's like a real feeling, you know, for him to be going through. It's kind of like, that's fucked up. Like, you know, it's like the reality of the betrayal is really weighing heavily on him.
It's the only time I've ever felt like the betrayal of Michael had any sort of real feeling to it.
I know.
This one like line.
Well, we have one more chapter. You don't know. I'm sure we'll get a lot more.
Right. So he wakes up. He's sweating. He's scared. It's morning. Sun's out. He can see the People's Palace in the distance, and it's further away than he originally thought it was. I wonder how he's going to get there in time.
Well, he's got to get on his horse real quick, right?
Oh my god.
Oh no!
Something's around him, approaching.
What could it be?
It's heart hounds. Oh my god. Oh. They kill his horse.
Immediately, just murder
doubling down on how hard it's going to be to get there.
No, he can't possibly make it now in time.
His horses keep getting eaten.
They do, and I noticed the last horse that got eaten was by Scarlet.
Yeah.
And then moments later.
Wow. Yeah. That's true. And Richard jumps on top of the rock that he was sleeping under, and he starts killing them with his sword, all these heart hounds, so many. And
he's owning them, but there's too many. Why? There's never been this many hearthounds. So
why all of a sudden? Why here at the top of the mountain?
And it's daytime. Why are they here now?
I wonder if the power of what Darken Rahl is about to do,
the impending, probably. I don't know.
Right, manifesting more monsters. I like that idea. I'm going with that.
Yeah.
So he puts his anger magic in the sword. He's fighting hard. He fights so hard for Kaylin. He thinks for Kaylin.
Everything for her.
And
do it for her.
He knows, just as he's thinking, there's way too many heart hounds for me to possibly survive. The world turns red. The world
with blood
turns to fire.
Oh my god.
Scarlet's here.
Blowing fire.
Of course she is. And we should have known because when he woke up, the sun was shining.
Oh.
No more clouds.
Wow, she was able to spot him.
No more clouds.
She was hunting she was waiting. The days.
So she was thinking about him.
She was.
And once again, she scoops him up in her claw, flies away. They go to another mountaintop, and she sets him down. And then Richard hugs her, and he's petting her scales.
Starts laying on the adoration.
Yeah, he really does.
You are a dragon of honor.
Thank you for saving my life. He's been laying it on thick since day one, minute one.
It's getting put on thicker and thicker. You are the most beautiful beast I have ever seen. Which, did they like being called beasts? I don't know.
Maybe. That sounds powerful.
It is powerful.
So. She quips at him. I made a bargain, that is all. Besides, someone has to help you. You can't seem to stay out of trouble on your own.
She said it like that, but do you think she blushed a little bit? I kind of feel like she was a little
Maybe, maybe.
She had a little crimson in the scarlet,
So he asks her to take him to the People's Palace. we do this thing that we always do where he's like, can you take me to the People's Palace? And then she doesn't answer and asks another question unrelated.
Yep.
And she's like, did you find your friends and your brother? And then he's like, he really gets very emotional. He's like, my brother has betrayed me, betrayed everyone to Darken Rahl. I wish people had half the honor of dragons. Yeah, he is laying it on thick.
He's laying it on real thick.
I'm also like, Richard, like, you don't know her that well. For all you know, in like 3 months, she'll like betray the fuck out of you.
Absolutely.
She has all sorts of incentive to help him right now that is selfish.
Mm-hmm.
I think Scarlet is a beautiful, honorable beast, but I'm just saying, like, you don't know.
I don't know. And I'm not even sure. Like, at this point, I'm just kind of like, she could go back on this, like, pretty easy.
Once he saves everybody...
To be fair, that would be honorable, because she did make a deal.
That's true. Okay, so then she would be. What's her being dishonorable?
I guess not looking for him. And just letting the Hardhounds get him.
Right. I guess he's saying, you know what, it kind of makes sense. He's saying, even if she is doing it for selfish reasons, because she's like, I don't want all of life to go away. He's like, well,
selfish
that's
reasons.
Inherently more honorable than being
yeah.
the guy who doesn't care.
For sure.
Right.
Or Michael.
Who do you think I'm referring to? I'm referring to Michael.
I thought you meant like just a guy, you know? Just like a generic guy who didn't care. You
No,
know?
I'm talking about the person we're comparing her to, Michael.
You're right. He is far worse. Isn't it worse than not caring? Like, he's actively he's accelerating
I don't think
it.
he thinks that Darken Rahl is... Well, I guess what does he think Darken Rahl's doing?
I don't know. I would love to know what sales package Rahl dropped off at the
right, what does
Marble
Michael
House.
think is happening right now? I don't actually know.
He's just like, this guy's about to take over and I'm his number 2 guy.
Is that what he thinks?
Yeah.
Why does
he's like trying to make himself a pedophile, like to be like Devin. Like, he's just like, I gotta fit in when I get to Dahara. Yeah, it was yeah. Couldn't remember Dahara. I have a crackpot sort of theory right here, but you know, like, this is me with Charlie Day with the red string.
Okay.
Panis Rahl, right?
Yeah.
What do we call him?
Penis.
And where does he live?
Oh, are you gonna say?
Where does he live?
At the PP.
At the PP. Penis at the PP.
Penis made his home initials PP.
PP. I mean, it's probably ancient and not his fault, but how many penises
There's
have
something
there been?
about that.
There is something. This is the symbology that this brain only can cook up, you know? So now we're flying towards the PP, and guess what? The PP is gigantic.
That's true. It's actually the biggest one anybody's ever seen.
No one's ever seen a bigger PP.
Yeah, you're right. Should we clarify that we're saying PP because of People's Palace? That's where we got PP from.
Is the PP, and it is huge, tremendous.
Yeah, she's flying
awe-inspiring.
him. He's like, this looks like it could not have been made by men. I think we could comfortably assume magic was involved.
Obviously, like, it's just, how could men do that? Well, men can do magic. You know that.
But it's still, of course, you'd still be amazed.
Sure,
he says it was like the biggest of cities all melted together into one complex. I do kind of have fun trying to picture that.
Yeah.
I enjoy the challenge of imagining what the fuck that would look and feel like.
Yeah.
So she lands him, lets him off in a big courtyard where there are no people or guards. I want to talk on this point because it's the lack of guards, the lack of people, the lack of guards giving a fuck what's going on is a big thing. It's been a thing. It's extra a thing in this chapter.
Well, maybe the PP is just simply too big to adequately staff. There's just going to be whole courtyards
that's like why he needs to have this power, because he was like, I just need to be able to make more people to staff my giant castle.
I can't even staff this thing as is. I need to control a life to even get enough people in here.
Right.
It's like a mega Walmart and nobody's working the toy aisle.
It's like Roller Coaster Tycoon, where you could just spam create, you know, entertainers, mechanics, janitors.
Of course,
He can't do that. He
Well,
wants
he
the power.
will
He
be
wants
able
that
to.
little hand to just drop them off.
And you just start like dropping them all down.
Exactly.
Yeah, he's gonna like Darken Rahl's flying up and he's just like, fucking guards.
Do you think that's what it's like when he gets this power?
Absolutely, 100%. Yeah, it's like a builder mode.
Yeah.
He just goes up and it's just like, fucking, all right, yeah, this wall bigger.
He doesn't have access to
my face.
He doesn't have access to Minecraft.
What?
I said he doesn't have access to Minecraft.
Not yet. That's what's in that box.
So
Why do you think it's a box?
mean?
Why do you think it's a box? Everything is box shaped. It's
But, like,
Minecraft builder tool.
When you think of it like that, can you blame him?
No, I fucking get me in that box.
Right.
So wait, the box that kills you is the Nether.
I mean, I think it's just the Nether's just the underworld.
Which he already went to. So it's the end.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that probably makes more sense.
And Ender Dragon. Did Terry predict Minecraft?
He was locked into something.
That's what I'm saying. The cubic world. He knew. He saw it in his dreams.
Anyway, I wanted to talk about the lack of people around, the lack of guards, etc.
Yep.
I feel like it has this really weird tone, right? Where I feel like there's two ways to approach this day, right? It's the day Darken Rahl's doing his thing. And I feel like you would have to either, one, be like, everybody here is really bought into this thing that is happening. We're celebrating. Mm-hmm. We are so excited. We believe Father Rahl is bringing us into the new age today. Like, we are so beyond excited. And in which case, because we keep emphasizing how, like, empty and whatever everything is. And I'm like, I think there should be, like, a billion people about celebrating,
throwing feasts, parties.
Yeah. Okay, so, like, fine. If we're not doing that, then the only other thing to do is that they don't know it's happening at all because it's a secret. But then why would they be like, they're acting like something's happening, but also not like, do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's kind of like, it feels like, I don't know, the People's Palace and Dahara as a whole is like maybe running on this like lack of information.
Yeah.
Like they have an insane CEO that's doing like weird esoteric magicka, and everyone else is just like, dude, I don't know, we're working on the corn crisis out in Dahara East, like.
So you're saying, though, do you think they know, or do they have no clue anything's going down today?
I don't fucking know. I don't know.
Because I'm saying on any other day, would the guards and everybody just be absent and not giving a fuck? Or are they letting everyone in because they're like, it's D-Day, like, it's...
Here's my question to you. Are you asking me, Frank, what my honest opinion that Terry was trying to do here?
That's what I'm asking.
Okay, because that versus, like, what I think is happening in the world that Terry made are two different things.
So you think Terry had an intention with this and you're imagining a totally different thing?
I think Terry didn't think enough about this.
What do you think Terry wanted this to feel like?
I think he thought...
Do the people know he's doing this today?
I think the people know he's doing it. And I think they're just
and
like...
they don't care?
They're happy. But, like, he just didn't write it well enough. That's what I think. Because he didn't want to write more. I think he was tired of writing this book at this point. Okay. This book is just like, boom, like, we're just done. Like, we have one more chapter. That's crazy, considering everything we've been doing. So it's like, it kind of feels like Terry's just like, if I put guards there, he's got to talk to them. I don't want to write that. I'm just going to make it super easy. They just walk straight into the castle, straight up to the Garden of Life, and that'll be that. We'll do one big final chapter. I
totally get, and it comes up when Chase, Kaelin, and Zedd are going in, and Zedd's kind of like, they're letting us in because Darken Rahl wants us uniquely to go to the Garden of Life because he wants to kill us. He doesn't care. Yeah. And that makes sense, right? Like, I'm not saying that the guards should be stopping them.
Yeah.
But if anything, if the guards know why they're letting them in and that's why, they should be like blowing the horns. Like, the sacrifices are here. This is great.
How, and like, if I was going to write this like this, think about how potent that looks and how scary that's
terrifying.
If everyone's like kneeling and praying, throwing flowers at you,
exactly.
Like, you are gonna die and it's gonna be great for us.
Father Rahl wants you. Welcome. This is the best news ever. He knew you were coming. Like, if they were acting that way and everyone was celebrating, that would be very creepy and cool.
Yes.
Or, again, if they just have no clue, this is just a normal day in the life, we don't know Darken Rahl's doing anything, why are they letting them in then? I just don't really, it has to be that they know.
I think they, like, kind of know. Like, it's like a soft no. Like, most people don't know, but the guards are, like, aware. Like, oh, be on the lookout for these guys, let them through. But, like, they don't really know why. Like, is it just Darken and Demon in on this?
But and, wouldn't Darken, staff? Especially being that Darken is so confident in that it's going to work. He has been consistently. what about his personality would have him not loudly proclaiming this to his followers? If anything, it's going to get him more devotion. I guess unless they're going to be like freaked out and be like, Darken, I don't know if we want you having that power. Maybe.
I don't know.
I feel like
he's pretty convinced everyone's on his side.
Right, the way that the way they're written, the way he's written, I would think Darken Rahl would be loudly announcing his ascension.
Yeah.
And they would all be supporting it.
And can we once again go back to the fact that this is the first day of winter, right?
Mm-hmm.
Kaylin, Zedd, and Chase just make it today.
Okay.
To the Garden of Life by the end of the chapter.
Mm-hmm.
It is probably late afternoon. The fates really are on his side because this man sent double quad plus Demon to go pick up Kaylin. Yeah. They were going to have fun raping her and doing everything else and then make it back here in time.
Yeah.
God forbid she tries to run or does anything else in the woods or snaps her neck falling down a hill.
I know.
You had no room of error here.
I know.
And not only did it mess up and you got lucky because Kaylin happened to activate an ancient primal force that made her beeline to you.
Yeah.
But like the Demon plan made no sense.
What would be the alternative plan?
Go with your dragon right now.
Yeah, he should have done that a month ago.
Absolutely.
He should have done that forever ago.
And if the quad could find them that fast, he could find them faster.
Right.
Just go in, zap Zedd,
well,
easy.
Maybe he was going
chases a piece of paint, throw him away.
He was going to and Scarlet's just not there.
You think he was like, oh, I'll go... Dragon's gone.
Fuck. Yeah, I do, kind of.
Was that Richard? Damn. He's good. He's good. That's my boy. And then just like, Demon, you go. No, wait. Scarlet wasn't gone yet. He sent Demon while Richard was on his knees in the Garden of Life.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, you're right.
So he could have gotten on the dragon.
Demon could have gotten on the dragon. Maybe she wouldn't. Maybe she only did it
She would have chomped
his
ass. No chance.
Whatever. I don't know.
She's a dragon of honor.
These plans were bad.
They were bad and they're crazy and they just happen. It like no. You know how like everyone online's like he has plot armor. It's the only reason he lived. This plot has plot armor.
That's true.
The plot is armoring itself. It doesn't actually make sense. But you know we are here, and I guess I'm happy it worked out for everybody, including the story.
She's letting him off in the courtyard in the People's Palace, where people know or don't know that this thing is happening, but no one's there.
No one's there.
And she's like, our 6-day agreement's up, and the next time I see you, you're fair game for being eaten. Richard says, like, probably not, because I think I'm going to die today.
Got about 2 hours left, so...
And she says, try not to let that happen, Richard Cipher. I would still like to eat you. And then, God, this goes on so long. So... he's like, oh, take care of your beautiful baby.
Richard's smile widened as he rubbed a glossy scale. Which scales are glossy?
Hello? Ew, what are you saying?
Which glossy scale?
They're all glossy.
So he's just rubbing any old scale?
Like, meaning all of her scales are glossy. He's not, like, touching a specific one.
Take care of your little dragon when it hatches. I wish I had had a chance to see it. It will be beautiful, too. I know it.
He does say that.
Couched in all of this sexual innuendo. That's kind of a weird thing to say.
Well, that's why that's the sort of thing that makes me think that he was... I remember I said he could mean it in two ways. He could be horny about it, or he could just mean it in the, like, oh, you majestic
You're a
creature.
paradigm of nature. Yeah.
And I think Terry, as he likes to do, loves pushing the envelope on that horny thing. Yeah. And then he's Mott Baileying, and then he jumps back and he goes, oh, no, I just meant that one, see?
It's beautiful. Richard's not a dragon pedophile.
Stop. Yeah, he just wants to say, like, he's not a dragon fucker. I never said that.
He would never fuck dragons.
But it's not true. He is a dragon fucker.
He is.
But anyway, I don't think that
real recognize real.
It didn't mean that. He says, thanks for flying me around, even though you don't like it. It was a privilege to fly. I like flying too.
That line killed me. That shit cracked me up so hard. It was a privilege to fly. I like flying too. Yo, yeah, all right. Yeah.
Based.
Absolutely.
She says, you are a rare man, Richard Cipher. I have never seen one that matches you. And then he says, I am the seeker. The last seeker. She says, take care, seeker. You have the gift. Use it. Use everything you have to fight. Don't give in. Don't let him rule you. If you are to die, die fighting with everything you have, everything you know. That is the way of a dragon. That would have been, that paragraph right there seems like the natural end of this conversation. Yeah.
Oh,
it sounds like
goes on for another page. Yeah, no.
She gave him the thing he needs to think on, her little thesis statement of the power of the dragon. Take it, Richard, as inspiration. Why do we keep going?
This is a true, like, D&D-ism. Like, if you're a DM and you deliver that speech, you're like, the players will surely march off now. And they're like, wait, okay, so where's the inn? And, dude, like...
Well, okay. I think that they're really dramatically different, and I will forgive everyone playing D&D because everybody is improving on the spot, and it's very difficult to make it concise. Whereas Terry got to write that... It could take him as long as he wanted, and then he got to go back and reread it.
He was done writing this book, and he wanted to just...
He could go back and reread it and say, oh, that's a little messy. Let me mess with that.
Yeah.
No, that's not the same thing at all.
Well, that's what it felt like.
Well, so anyway, she gave that lovely speech, and then he says, if only it were that easy. Hey... Did you happen to fly into Westland when the
He knows she did.
I know. I don't know why we're asking this right now, especially. And fine, if you really need to hammer it home and have him ask this, he should have asked it before she said all that. All you had to do was copy and paste this part of the conversation earlier, and then she could have said that.
Yeah, I know. I agree.
So she said, this is the way of a dragon. Hey, okay. Whatever. Did you happen to fly into Westland one time? And then, oh my god, the most boring response.
She flew in 3 times exactly.
Yeah, once to a big house made out of white stone with slate roofs. Of course we had to mention...
We know the roof type!
Of course we had to mention what type of tiling was on the roof.
Okay.
And then another simple house where he killed a man. And
I heard him screaming.
Another simple house. We know all of this.
Yeah.
We know all of this.
I know. And not anything else.
Nothing else.
And that's crazy because Darken Rahl brought down the boundary.
Also,
so we know he was there.
How has he been communicating with Michael? He only talked to him one time.
Once. That was
Michael was bought in that one visit. He was like, yes.
I can't imagine a man so charismatic and so powerful that he shows up at my house once and I'm like, I'll betray my brother and my nation and the world. Hell yeah.
Absolutely.
What do you got?
What if, no, you're not considering, what if he flew in on a dragon?
No, that might do it. Yeah, that might be enough.
Okay, so then that was that.
And nobody else saw the motherfucking dragon at Michael's house? Nobody in society was talking about...
Where did he park it?
Counselor Michael's got a dragon friend coming by? We didn't think magic was real, but this guy's got a friend who flies a dragon?
And you can't even say, oh, she just flew him over into the Westland, somewhere really rural, and dropped him off, and then Darken Rahl traveled because she knows that the roof was slate, so she was there. She was at Michael's house.
You told on yourself, motherfucker. We know. We know. So, yeah. Also, ridiculous that Darken Rahl had nothing else going on in the Westlands.
I would think
he wanted to talk to Michael one time, kill Richard's dad, and
then
blow up Richard's shack in the woods. He didn't do anything else in the Westlands. He had no other plot points going on that you just didn't... are not relevant to Richard, so he doesn't know about it? No, of course not. Everything has to do with Richard.
I know, everything.
It's so fucking dumb.
I know that, like, it does in the sense that, like, whatever, they're related and the fates are bringing them together because of it. And, you know, he knew that George had the book and he needs the book. Whatever, like, in that way it makes sense. But I just do think he probably would have been plotting and conniving with some people over there other than Michael.
You think. You would think.
Anyway, I just was pissed off that all this dumb shit happened after she gave her speech.
Yeah.
And then he's like upset. And I'm like, honestly, why does it matter? Like, we know for a fact that Darken Rahl talked to Michael. We know for a fact that Darken Rahl killed your dad. We've known all of that for a while. What does it matter that Scarlet flew him there? What's the difference? If Darken Rahl just popped up out of the ground and then left, or Scarlet flew him over the boundary, who fucking cares?
It's like you got a free personalized Uber driver for the week, and you're like, wait, you drove the car that the assassin took to kill my dad? Oh,
I
man.
mean, I guess in that way, when you say it like that, it's a little upsetting.
What does it matter at that point?
I don't know how much.
He just drove the car and then let him off. And then he killed somebody. It's not like...
Maybe that would hit you emotionally.
But he knew it already. He didn't need confirmation.
I don't know. It's just funny to be like, I need to know the mode of transportation. Like, why?
This was the boat used by the guy who drove up the river to park to then get out and kill my dad and then drove back in.
It's like...
I can't ride on that boat. You did for a week. I don't know, man. It's over now.
I didn't even get the sense that he was sad because he was being like, oh, I rode on the same dragon. I don't know. I think he was just sad like, oh, that happened. But I'm like, well, it happened and it already happened.
We have not wasted an errant thought about George Cypher's death in like 300 pages, so...
Yeah. It says, if Darken Rahl ever tries to rule you again, which he literally will rule her in like an hour.
Yeah.
He doesn't have to try. He's just going to do it soon.
We don't know how the magic works, but yeah, if it's like any other magic, yeah, it'll just be automatic. It's like a light switch.
What do you mean, where he rules the world?
Yeah, does he like need to walk around and grab people, or does it just...
It sounds like he can
Does
do
it just
anything
turn up?
he
Yeah.
wants. If he thinks,
Building
I'd like
mode,
to rule
yeah.
Scarlet, he rules her, right?
Yeah.
I hope your little dragon will be safe, and you will be able to fight to the death. You are too noble to be ruled. She flies away. Okay. I wish we
Give
had
it a
just-
dragon's grin.
So the guards let him inside. He's heading towards the Garden of Life. He passes by Dennis Hall and he doesn't want to look
He's just
down
like,
it.
I can't. Too many bad good memories.
He stops at one of the devotion pools. He watches some fish. He thinks about how Scarlet told him to fight with everything he knew. And he's like, but what would that even do? I can't do that. I need to help Darken Rahl. And that's that. And the bell for devotion rings.
God.
Everybody comes out. They're starting to bow and chant. We're just kind of like standing there when two Mord-Sith arrive and they're glaring at him. And like my dude definitely would and should, and I suppose does have really crazy PTSD with Mord-Sith. Like,
Yeah.
if I were him, I don't even know. I guess I would just do whatever immediately. He doesn't want anybody to notice him, so he's like, fine, and he starts to chant. And he feels, as he's been doing consistently, feels really calm and peaceful when he does this meditation. And suddenly he has an idea. If he's going to chant, he might as well say a chant he cares about. And so he...
That's good. Yeah.
I love
Growth. Yeah.
He changed the words. Yes, he did.
Yes, he did.
And he says, Kaelin, guide me. Kaelin, teach me. Kaelin, protect me. In your light I thrive. In your mercy I am sheltered. In your wisdom I am humbled. I live only to love you. My life is yours. Yes, romantic.
Intense.
Pretty intense. Yeah, like a little too intense. I know, whatever. Their drama, love, intense.
It's
plot.
like 11th grade. Sorta,
Yeah, but like some part of me is like, something about it would make me very uncomfortable. I'd be like,
I think so.
just want to.
It's a high expectation.
I just want to.
They haven't even gotten dinner at the Olive Garden yet. You
Right.
know? Yeah.
Yeah, even after dinner at the Olive Garden, I'm like, whoa.
Would it take 2 Olive Gardens before this is
I don't
appropriate?
know. I just wanted to like date and
Yeah.
stuff.
No.
I don't want to do all that.
No.
Don't put that on me.
No, but-
Thanks.
But this is what you don't understand about their love, all right?
Yeah, you're right.
It is this intense. Well, I assume the reverse is true, you know? They're living for each other.
They're both going to do that for one another.
I
Okay.
live only to love you is not true, right? He lives for many things.
His life is his own. Rise
Life
up and
is
live
his
it.
own. Wow, even the series like contradicts itself, and not in a way that I feel like makes sense.
I don't know. Is there something? Are we supposed to think something negative about this? I don't think so.
I feel a little negative about it personally, but
Yeah,
yeah,
but
no.
I'm saying,
Are
was
we
that the
supposed to as
intention?
readers? Like, I don't know.
I think we're supposed to think that's good and
I
romantic.
mean, it's definitely better than
It's
playing
better
Darken Rahl.
for sure.
But
Yeah. I don't know. Something about it made me go like, ugh. And then I was like, okay, is there an interesting thought here?
Tell me.
Is there an interesting thought? I don't know. This story's probably not this complex. Maybe. Is there an interesting thought to the idea that after his trauma of the relationship with Denna, that he almost now has some weird desire, as I think you probably would, to put somebody in that relational role and being back because okay, you know what, I'm defending this. I think maybe this is real because it's like, I think that textually, right, we are back at the People's Palace. We even specifically walked past Denna's room.
Yes.
Right before he came here, he was reflecting on what complicated feelings he has about Denna. Then we saw 2 Mord-Sith come up and like engage with him. He's thinking about them and now he's chanting. I wonder if there's something here where like he is almost trying to like put Kaylin.
It's the final piece of the puzzle.
In
and it is. Okay.
Denna's spot.
Which he is.
Which I think is unhealthy.
Definitely.
Right? Not to say that Richard's bad for that or that I don't like it as a plot point. I think Richard experiencing unhealthy desires after that makes sense and I would like to explore it. And it kind of made me think of that. I was like, he's like weirdly putting Kaylin into Denna's role. And then I don't think I'm going to love it so much if the conclusion is... And that's good because it's
that's
Kaylin.
What love is.
Like, I'm like, no. No. I mean, to me, that means that Richard is, like, in some capacity, he's been, like, broken by that experience and does it the same way when he was with Denna. He kept being like, was broken. He was like, I feel like I can't make decisions for myself. I almost don't want to leave her because how would I know what to do? How would I know what choices to make? Like, this feels like some sort of brokenness of being like, oh, I hope Kaylin can kind of help me because right now I have this part of me that like doesn't want my own life, doesn't want the responsibility of my own choices. I don't know. Do we think that's anything that I was supposed to take away from that?
I think that it's optimistic to think so, but I think you're partially right.
Yeah.
I think maybe this is Terry figuring out his feelings on this sort of thing. And we know that Your Life Is Your Own ends up being where he lands. But that's like 6 books later.
Yeah.
So maybe over the course of these 6 books is Richard's journey of figuring out self-love and self-fulfillment. Maybe not just... Yeah, maybe it is an unhealthy conclusion after a very unhealthy experience that he just went through, where he learned love through pain and torture.
Right.
And now is trying to perpetuate it and just being like, oh, she can fill that role.
Right.
She had a role.
Yeah.
That was taken away from me. I went through a whole nother arc on my own. And that created a new hole. And now I'm just going to take her and put it there. And it will work for the conclusion of this story, but is that part of Richard's long-term journey? I kind of feel like no, because I feel like what Terry does frequently is instead of learning, Richard just replaces the thing that was bad with a new thing that is good.
Yeah.
Until it is bad later, and then he replaces it with a new thing that is good without ever saying that was bad. Diatribes explaining how that was healthy then with Kaylin, despite it being wrong now. I don't know. I'm not sure.
I don't know.
But I really like that take.
Well,
I think that's interesting.
Feel like what I would love if I could like somehow morph what's about to happen in future books. I would love for him to kind of like almost keep trying to subtly put Kaylin in that position.
Yeah.
And then explore her relationship to it and explore how she's like, you're putting a burden on me that I'm not asking for and I don't want.
Yeah.
I could see that dynamic playing out really interestingly, but I don't know that, like, I'm just making that up based on this one little thing here that I don't know if that's gonna happen.
I'm curious and kind of excited to see.
Right, like you could have a couple of ways. That could be like he does that and Kaylin for some reason takes to it, and then that has its own weird issues that would pop up, or it would be Kaylin being like, stop putting that on me, I'm not Denna, I want to be equals with you as partners, blah blah blah. I don't know, there's some options.
I think that what I think he's trying to do, maybe without even realizing how unhealthy that sounds, Terry, is writing the white and the black, like the sword and the Kandar and the Confessor power. It's kind of like love has this relational opposition to it as well, like this top and bottom, this submissive and leader sort of thing. He's like, love has that too, but both people need to do it in the opposite directions. Like,
meaning like both people need to say, you're my leader.
Yes. Literally. I think that he's saying, Richard's saying this about Kaylin. Kaylin feels this about Richard. So they both meet in the middle and they raise each other up. I think that is currently what Terry's trying to push as love and good and true.
Let me think about it.
But I like your take.
Okay.
And I think that, I don't think it was handled like that and that well over the next couple of books, but I clearly don't remember that many details.
I don't know.
Especially about this.
I don't remember anything. I don't know. I know what you're saying.
Taking turns leading when they're...
Yeah, and I guess in a way that is accurate.
Yeah. But I don't think Richard struggled. That's the thing. It's not like
But
Richard...
my life is yours. That is so counter. Him saying that is so counter to the message. It's like, no, it's... According to the book series, like, no, it's not.
Yes, but yeah. What is the evolution towards him getting there? He does take an entire fucking book to carve a statue and say those lines. So, I don't know.
But you think this being the thesis of the way they relate to one another via love is going to be like not that any longer? Like, I don't know. I feel like he's gonna somehow try to do both.
I agree.
And I don't know if that...
I don't know if you can do both.
Can you do both? I'm not
know.
sure.
I don't know. But he will try and tell us we can. So I'm curious to see how he does that.
I don't know.
You know?
I guess your life is your own to give your life to your love. But by that logic, your life is your own to give to Darken Rahl if you want, right? Like, they're the same
That's
logical
true.
leap,
Yeah,
I think.
good point.
Saying you're free to devote your life to another. I don't see how there's a difference between making that choice for like a romantic partner versus an ideology versus a figurehead versus he would say love is uniquely innocent or something.
I don't know.
Those were my thoughts about that.
Those are good thoughts.
So as he's doing that, he bolts upright from his meditation with a shock of realization. He knew what he must do. I think we know what conclusion he's coming to,
yes,
right?
yeah.
It's that since he loves Kaylin so much and is devoting his life to her, if she confesses him, it won't impact him because he's already confessed.
Literally.
That's not true.
Listen.
That's not true.
It's dumb.
Him loving her...
More
are
than life
presented.
itself. First off, the confessor power doesn't really feel like love, so that's weird.
No.
But he's claiming Brophy getting confessed,
Yeah.
dropping to his knees and saying, "Mistress, do whatever and tell me to die, and I will."
And I will.
And
yeah.
Richard's like, "I'm there.
No,
That's me.
in what world?
I'm there right now. If Kaylin told me to die, I'd fucking just stop breathing. No problem."
No, you wouldn't. And honestly, you shouldn't. You shouldn't. I don't care.
But maybe that is the unhealthy thing. I don't know. Maybe that's just the one trick to get him through this plot.
That's what I'm saying. It feels like it's counter to so much of the messaging, but it's convenient for this plot. So right now, you should die for your significant other.
If she wanted you to.
If she wanted.
On a whim.
Right, exactly. No,
Yeah.
not out of like, I'm here to save you, but like out of her just... Because... For them to be the same, for him to be like, there's no more you could confess me because I'm there. That means, yeah, if she just on a whim said, Richard, die, you're like, and I would. Is that good? Is that good? I don't think so.
I guess she wouldn't say it, so he doesn't ever have to prove that because they love each other. I don't know.
So he's saying that's true. That is true. That would happen. She just won't ask.
Yeah, she wouldn't ask.
But if she did,
then I'm dead. Yeah, but I'm like, you're gonna tell me they don't fight ever, and like she says something she doesn't mean, and he just offs himself. I know the series doesn't end that way, so.
But like, yeah. So is the implication for the rest of the book technically anything Kaylin wants him to do, he does? Because that can't be true. That can't be true.
The claim is, so like, with like a Brophy, when he got confessed, he would do anything to please her.
Yeah.
Richard's claiming everything I do is to please her. Except for like all the things that you will have to inevitably do that don't please her.
What about
If it's like, I have to go to war.
Right.
I have to, like, lead the army to go fight Jagang out in the Azrith Plains. And she's like, I really wish you wouldn't. He doesn't go, oh, well, I only care about you. He goes, I care about the whole world. And then Richard will be like, but you care about the world, too.
No, 'cause
that's for you.
That's the biggest distinction, though, is that Richard has the freedom to, like, he can still frame it as, like, I just think you're wrong, Kaylin, and the thing I'm doing is actually what's best for you, so I will go against your wishes and do what I think is best for you. When you're confessed, you don't have that option. Even if it's not best for her, you'll do it. If Kaylin says, you're confessed, punch me, you're going to punch her.
Absolutely.
So it's not the same thing.
No.
It's not the same thing.
It doesn't make any sense like that. If Kaylin says, cut off my left pinky, they'll do it.
They'll do it.
Is that really what you want? I'll do anything you tell me to do. Richard's not going to do anything she tells him to do. He's not a slave. He's just in love with her. They're different things.
Like, I don't know. We'll have to see how it's explained.
There could be this magic shield because he's a wizard and like all
I
these
don't think it's
sorts of,
like going to be that. I think it's going to be like, it's a loophole in that the magic's just going to be confused by the amount of love he's feeling towards her.
Yeah.
But I just feel like confessor magic, being confessed, is being described as like the exact opposite of your life is your own. It's like as far as you could get from that. Your life is no longer even
your life is mine.
Kind of your own. And I don't believe Richard being in love with her is in any way equatable to that experience.
All right, wait, something interesting though. The devotion as it stands, pre-Richard changing it, is a spell of sorts, a promise to give Darken Rahl the level of control that a confessor has over her confessed people.
Yeah, I think we
right?
said that, yeah.
So, if that is the intention behind that proclamation, then Richard is saying it with Kaylin substituted in and saying, oh, what Darken Rahl's thing is attempting to squeeze out of people is love.
Is it though?
It's trying to get this sort of like obedience through adoration, because it's saying all these things like you are so smart. I'm only smart because of you. Like all this stuff.
But is that what does that? Who feels that way when they're in love? I'm only smart. I don't think I'm only smart because of you. I'm so sorry. I don't think that.
Anyway,
I don't believe. I don't know. In your mercy, I am sheltered. I don't think that I think that.
I don't think so either. All right, interesting take though. So it's more of like almost like a parent to child relationship.
Yeah, I know. That's exactly what I'm saying. Seems a little unhealthy about it.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. If I were Kaylin and somebody was directing this at me, I would be like, cool off, buddy. Take some responsibility for yourself. I don't want it. I'm not taking care of you like that. Like, get it together.
Yeah, did Terry believe, or is it Richard unhealthfully believing due to the trauma he's
Well, I love that take.
Loving a partner is kind of like you both agreeing to parent each other.
Well, what would be so intriguing is if it is unhealthy, and that's the conclusion we eventually come to, but the only reason the confessor thing is going to, being confessed magic is going to work like this is because in this moment, because of the whole thing with Denna, actually has that level of an unhealthy feeling towards Kaylin.
Yeah.
And then the magic is like, whoa, that's an insane level of devotion.
We've checked it off. I guess you already work.
Yeah, you actually would die for her. That's crazy. I guess it's not going to work. And then later we're like, okay, good that happened in that moment because of Denna and everything, but also bad to continue existing in that state. You can't have a relationship like that, right? That would be kind of cool. You think that's gonna happen?
No, because I'm pretty sure they just have sex the whole time through. So
what does that have to do with it?
Well, because
because he
yeah
how does that? But then I think it's that the magic
knows it didn't work once, so it just you get a free pass the rest of your life. Yeah, I don't know about that.
I think he is in such a crazy headspace because he got Mord-Sith that he is like ultra devotion man right now.
Yeah.
which is unhealthy.
Yeah.
But then the magic in that moment won't work, but has entered his body. Therefore,
he now is immune to it.
He's immune. He got the vaccine.
Yeah, I don't know.
In a moment of Mord-Sith addled
See, like,
brain
if he
weakness.
leaned on that, that would have been sick.
That would have been great.
That would have been great.
Well, maybe,
Hey.
is that true?
No.
That makes sense,
It just
though,
doesn't
right?
work on him because he loves her so much. And that's going to be, I think, through line all the way through the series. I don't think at any point we reflect on that as being, like, maybe a bad thing.
I think we should.
Well,
I think
Ajax,
we ought to.
please save us. Maybe it's just unhealthy, and it works this one time very well for the plot.
Ajax, in your light, I thrive.
But not mine. Okay,
In your
cool. Thank you.
He says, as he has his realization, he's like, Zedd told him about Wizard's first rule. I feel like this is shoehorned in so hard. Most things people believed were wrong. He had been a fool long enough, listening to others. He avoided the truth no longer. He smiles.
No, it wasn't shoehorned in. It's because everyone said if you get confessed, it erases everything about you, and he never questioned, like, is there a way you could not make that happen? So that's all.
I don't feel like... Okay. Everything about this is frustrating. I feel like...
Welcome to Terry Goodkind.
Like, it's like, oh, for sure, question it. But, like, I don't know how to explain it. It's like, just because you had the thought, what if it works this way, doesn't mean it does. Maybe it doesn't.
No,
I don't know.
He figured it out right now.
How did he figure out?
He's got the magic power, the will, the war magic.
He didn't think of that.
He figured out a way to get through the confessor spell. 'Cause
Isn't
he
this
needed
just a theory? Like, to me, this feels like a scientist coming over and being like, I've got a hypothesis.
We have to test it now.
Right, I don't know
well,
if it'll work.
He's
but
testing it live, all right?
Fine.
And he's convinced it's going to work.
I'm not saying, like, I don't know, like he avoided the truth no longer. You didn't think that because you were like, I don't want to know that truth. It just was like, that's like a, maybe. And you didn't think of it.
He's just saying, people have been saying, I can't do this, but I have gooned hard enough that I now can. And that's the truth.
Like, that's actually how I'm taking it.
Yeah. He's like, I'm convinced.
I know how devoted I could be.
Gooned
No,
to
he
the
is.
max.
You can't tell me these things aren't related.
Yeah.
He has proof of how devoted he can become to a sexy lady.
Yep.
And so
easy. With good hair. He's in. He's like, her hair's great. I could do this.
I know it.
I know it.
I've done it. It says he believes with all his heart it's going to work. So he goes to leave, he gets up, and the Mord-Sith get up, and they stop him. And they're blocking his way.
They come up boobily.
Yes, of course.
Yeah,
and how else? They take out their angels, which, like, Richard should have a real visceral reaction to an angel being pointed at him, and he doesn't really... But I guess he's so high on his revelation, and he's like, I'm devoted to Mistress Kaylin now, is where he's at mentally.
Literally, yeah.
And they say no one is allowed to miss a devotion. No one. And Richard glares threateningly at them, and he says, I am the Seeker. And then he shows them his angel, and he says, Mate to Denna, I am the one who killed her with the magic by which she held me. I have made my last devotion to Father Rahl. The next move you make will determine if you live or die. Choose. Okay. That's a cool speech.
It's fine. Yeah.
I think, I understand if I were them, certainly knowing that he killed Mistress Denna, I would be like, okay, never
One
mind.
little devotion, not so bad.
Yeah.
I'm going to let him go.
And so then they are like, fine, and leave him. And then he starts heading to the Garden of Life.
Woohoo.
Then... POV switch.
Yep.
We go to Zedd chasing Kaylin. They're heading up the road towards the People's Palace, the like windy
They're heading
road
up
up
to the
the
PP
cliff.
right now. Yep.
They're going to the PP.
Yep.
And the drawbridges are coming down, letting them go up. And the guards, once again, just don't seem to care. And they seem... See, this is what I question. Because it says that the guards seem specifically disinterested. So... Okay, on my menu of options, none of them should lead to the guards being disinterested.
Yeah, I
right?
agree.
Because they either think, yes, good, we're letting them in because things are happening, Darken Rahl wants them. They should be excited they're there. Or they should not know anything's happening and they should be like, why are we letting these people in?
There might be this third option of they don't know what's going on, but also can you imagine guarding a castle this big for a extremely powerful magic user who does not need your help. It might be kind of like, yeah, I don't know, let them in. If they're coming, they'll die if they do anything bad in there.
Yeah, then why do they even exist?
Oh, that's a good question. Not that many of them do, it seems like, so I don't know.
But I guess once it's that level of like, we do not give a fuck, you're gonna die if you go in, who cares, blah blah blah. I guess I'm just like, what is the point of them?
I don't know.
And I think if they're there uniquely to let them inside because he wants to see them, I just think they'd be a little interested. I think they'd be a little bit like, who are you guys?
Well, yeah, what's going on? What is going on in there today?
I guess I feel like
people are acting weird.
Maybe there's a path towards what you're saying, but that is the least interesting option you could pick.
Agreed.
Every other option is more interesting.
It is.
So Chase says he doesn't like how easy it is to get in. Zedd's like, well, Darken Rahl wants to kill us, so he might as well let us in. Chase is like, that doesn't make me feel better. Zedd's like, okay, go home. I mean, not exactly,
literally,
but kind of. And
kinda.
he's right. He's like, I know. I told you we're gonna die. You said you wanted to come.
You're on a suicide mission. I told you like 4 times.
I know. Why are you complaining? It's exactly what I said would happen is happening.
He's the resident idiot for this chapter.
So. And last chapter.
I know.
So Chase is like, no, not until it's done.
Okay.
They reach the top of the plateau where the PP is. There's a big wall around the castle with men armed on top. Kaylin just goes right up to the gate. They open it for her. Great. Chase looks at the captain of the guards. And I get it because it's supposed to be like he's a watchman too. And he's offended by this. He just says, you let anyone in?
See, like, I could have liked a scene like this without all the other
Agreed.
Chase idiocy. Like, this is kind of funny.
Yeah, it's funny to be like, Chase is getting worked up just by virtue of...
The lack of, like, decorum and defense.
Yeah,
and,
like, just being like, they suck at this job. Why even
so
have
bad.
them? Like, it's
Literally.
dishonorable
Yeah.
as a guard.
And it kind of is.
And then they say, so then they say, she is expected by Master Rahl. I think they'd be a little intrigued by who the fuck the Kandar Confessor walking up is.
I would
Why are they disinterested? This is a weird,
know.
shocking group.
I agree. On a very important day for your master.
So this is the worst part of the whole chapter.
I know.
So Chase says, so much for sneaking up on him. Zedd says, one does not sneak up on a wizard of Rahl's talents.
He's a wizard?
Now y'all can't be serious right now.
Come on.
Y'all cannot be serious right now.
Come on.
No. Why would you ever write this as a part of the plot?
Chase, who knows about the Seeker, knows about Confessors, knows Zedd's a wizard, knows
has
about
apparently
the boundary,
lived in
the Midlands, doesn't know that Darken Rahl, who's the king of the other side of that boundary, who's super bad and has apparently, as we'll find out, a extremely long line of Rahl wizards going back into antiquity. Chase has never heard of them and didn't know this guy was a wizard.
The whole time. Wait. When he rode up on the dragon and jumped off and did all his weird... Like, what does he think this... He just thinks that's a guy? He thought
and Zedd tried to, like judo chop him in the neck with magic, and he just, like, brushed it off and threw him away. Chase didn't go, I think this is a magical man.
At what point... What have they talked about the whole time they've been traveling?
Nothing.
What the fuck have you been talking about?
They literally fast travel. I think that's it.
They
literally
when
must
they're not on
just
the screen,
blink.
they don't exist.
This, like, when they are on screen, they're evolving, and then they blink to a new point, and the only things you get are things that are, like, listed at
I don't
the
know why,
beginning.
like, if you're Terry writing them, why are you not like, what have they been talking about? What has happened to these individuals the whole time they've been off screen? He's like, nothing. They started, the last time you saw them, they stopped, and then now they started again. That's it. Like, how are you like, you can't.
The only way you should have done this would have been, like, a wizard of his skill doesn't get tricked. And then Chase should have said something like, but you're a wizard of great skill.
Yeah.
How come you can't? And then he can go into the whole, the palace itself.
That would have made way
suppresses
more
my
sense.
power. I should have told you that.
Honestly,
blah, blah, blah.
though, even still, I'm like, the only thing the group of you should have been discussing while you were looking for Richard this whole time is every motherfucking intricacy of Darker Rahl's power, the People's Palace, how wizards work, how underworld magic works, how additive and subtractive magic works, who is his family, why specifically is he the one with the boxes of Orden, all of these things. It's like, I'm talking about it. It's not even real. It's not even real. And I'm talking about it a lot.
Imagine like you're tasked with a journey. It's the beginning of summer or spring right now. You have until winter 1 to walk to Georgia, where there's a powerful man there. How much do you think you're going to talk about that powerful man on the walk down to Georgia?
Yeah, Chase hasn't been with them the whole time, but he's been with them long enough.
He's had at least a week.
Yeah, at least.
At least a week. He doesn't know he's a wizard?
What?
Zedd said stuff about the underworld spells being on them. And who did that? Who did it? You bodied half their crew and no one shot a spell at you.
You saw Zedd try to spell these men that came from Darken Rahl, and they all had protection magic on them. How'd that happen?
He's a wizard?
How did you think he did any of this?
Why don't he could be a new thing. I would assume he's a new thing. I wouldn't even be thinking about wizards. I'd be like, is this like a demigod? Like, what are we dealing with here? And I would have asked that the motherfucking day I left the Westlands. I would have known.
I'm going on the suicide mission, abandoning my family, just like Brophy, and I'm not going to question where I'm going.
Yeah.
Or who I'm fighting or what that is crazy.
You don't even get an intro mission in a video game without them explaining that he's a wizard.
We ask more questions as people reading a book.
About fake stuff.
About things.
Goofy fake stuff.
We're asking more questions than the people facing the end of the world and the end of their own life and their families' lives. Anyway, one of the worst plot points is Chase not knowing he's a wizard. I think in the whole book, maybe is on par with Old John for me.
Well, listen. No, come on. Old John was crazy. Come on. But also, we have a chapter left, so you don't know.
Well, it could get worse. I'm just saying, as of right now, that's one of the worst.
And Zedd responds with, well, how do you think he was doing all that magic? And it's like, yeah.
So, like, we're once again doing that thing where, like, we have these characters, we want to think they're cool and smart and all of these things because that's what you keep saying. And then you go like, it's conveniently for me, I need him to be dumb now. And then I just say, Chase truly seems like one of the stupidest people on the entire fucking planet now. Until
he's slinging daggers and telling you, how come you don't know about Agarian history, like in like a chapter and a half.
But why'd you do that to my boy? Why'd you do that to him?
You did it so that he can go, but I thought Wizzies were the good guys.
All of the like, Terry felt like he had to make his characters dumb to get to X conclusion. They all just feel to me like they have really easy paths to get to the same place.
That he didn't feel like thinking about.
I know, but I'm just like, it's not that complicated. I could definitely come up with something.
And yet, yeah, I know.
I don't get it. So... yeah, Rahl's a wizard? Of course. How do you suppose he's able to command magic the way he does? How do you think he uses magic? He is descended from a long line of wizards. Look at his castle, do you think?
Yeah, they didn't just build this.
I thought wizards were only supposed to help people, not rule them. I'm 5.
I'm literally one of Chase's kids just subbed out.
I'm 5 and I've only read fairy tale storybooks.
No, because there's bad wizards in those. This is crazy.
You're so right.
This is crazy.
What? If I
thought they were the good guys.
That people with magic spells exist. Yeah, my next thought is like, oh, so that's good for the good ones and bad for people who are bad because they'll probably do bad things with it.
I feel like Chase, out of everyone, is going to be the most jaded about humanity.
Yeah.
He deals with like criminals constantly. He's not going to go
maybe like... Kaylin more, but Chase close second, you know?
Sure. But like...
yeah, I know.
Chase isn't like... I feel like in a book, you'll have Chase say something like, you give spells to a monster, you get a spell-slinging monster. Like, he's not gonna
that
be like,
seems like great characterization for him that we're not seeing.
Suddenly he doesn't have that sort of
forethought. Why is he a baby?
Because it's
I refuse to believe that there's ever been a man who was a wizard who wanted to do a bad thing. Why? Why do you think that?
He's not the type of person that would think that.
So
inconsistent characterization plagues this book.
So here we go. Zedd says, before some of us decided to no longer interfere with the affairs of man, wizards used to rule. You think
some of us? You weren't around. What are you talking about? Why are you including yourself? You're a guy that's like 10,000 years after.
I agree with them. I'm on their side. And
that's just a personal choice. Nothing's holding you to that.
There was a rift. This is your favorite.
You know it.
The Wizards' Wars, as they were known. Oh, yeah.
As they were known?
That's what they were called?
Yeah, you just put two words together. Yeah, as they were known. We needed more wood for the kingdom. We had a period of chopping down wood. We called it the Chopping Wood Times, as it was known. What the fuck you... Yeah, of course it was called the Wizards' War.
Okay. A few on their side survived.
No, I'm not done. Hold on. I gotta crash out real quick.
I love that the war just was like as simple as like, we rule men. We don't rule men. Those were the sides.
That's it. We rule men. Should we not rule men? Wizards' War.
That's it.
It's not like the attrition of Arkranok the Great. Like, that would have been like, I don't know. Then just go. What? Where did I come up with that? I don't fucking know. It's just in my brain. It's not that hard to say kind of cool thing. And then you just have to explain who and what is that. Instead, you could do the easy thing. Wizard War.
Good guy, bad guy.
Good guy, bad guy. Wizard War.
Okay, so a few on their side, meaning the ones that like ruling people, they survived and continued to follow the old ways.
Did they survive, or is it just Darken Rahl and his family?
I know, who else?
I don't know.
Continued to take power for themselves and continued to rule people.
Yep.
Darken Rahl is a direct descendant of that line, the House of Rahl.
You could tell because his name is Darken Rahl.
He was born...
He's direct descent. Yeah, I know. He has the same name. He's living in the palace. Yeah.
He was born with the gift. Not all are. He uses it only for himself. He is a person who does not bear the burden of conscience. Okay,
we know.
That's
we
fine.
Know. This is like something that should have been said in the Westlands.
Yeah.
It feels like a pitch for the book. It feels like this was on the cover letter of Terry, like, to his editor, being like, this is what I think I'm writing about. This is like Zedd saying this to Chase.
Does that matter long term? Like, will the idea of the Wizards' Wars and the House of Rahl and the lineage, like, I mean, obviously, other than Richard, like, will it mean anything?
Specifically for Richard, yeah.
Okay.
And I know it will be, like, kind of important for the first couple of books.
All right. Okay.
And then there will be a long period of time where it's not important.
Okay,
and then the triple Confessor Chainfire, whatever,
it's
ending, then it starts to come back and be important again.
All right. Well, I don't know. I'll determine how I feel about that later.
Yeah.
And so they enter the halls of the People's Palace. Chase is amazed at the splendor. Kaelin's leading them. So then we get some description of what the people are doing today. There's people in white robes walking around. Some are meditating. We got some commentary. All war.
Yeah, this was almost like jarringly cutting.
Yeah, it really was.
I had to go back and be like, who's even in charge of this chapter?
I think it's Zedd.
It is Zedd.
Yeah.
But that's only because Zedd's like the first. Like, you didn't know for sure. Like,
no,
it was
I
like,
agree.
It was kind of confusing. And then I was like, was Kaelin saying? Who's saying this?
Zedd.
Zedd's saying this.
All wore the perpetual smile of the divinely deluded, the peaceful countenance of those self-assured in their fantasy of certainty and understanding. Truth was only a shifting fog to them, to be burned off by the light of their convoluted reasoning. Now,
it's like Bob Dylan walking through the fucking People's Palace being like, the convoluted light of their reasoning.
You're right, it is extremely cutting. What feels bizarre about it is that I feel like I know nothing about any of this for these people. So, like, it would be cool and cutting if I saw in action any of the believers at the People's Palace actually having reasoning like this, actually having beliefs, and they were ridiculous or self-assured. Like, I'm just like, what are we referring to?
Right now, all we have had contact with is quads who are a specifically trained confessor-killing force of men who are particularly keen for raping.
Yeah, but you get the sense that they don't believe in anything. They just love being bad.
Then we have Mord-Sith who were broken to be really bad. And also, then we have a bunch of other regular people, including Carl Jr.'s parents, who were just normal people, it seems like, and are maybe just like working in this giant complex.
Like the Mord-Sith, they would have been really your great way to show us what the fuck you're referring to here.
Yeah.
But like, we get very little other than Darken Rahl tortured me, I'm kind of scared of him, and I think he's in charge because I'm scared of him.
And then there's a lot of NPCs.
And I guess I'm like, well, that has nothing to do with the perpetual smile of the divinely deluded. It has nothing to do with the peaceful countenance of being self-assured in your fantasy. Truth being a shifting fog. Like, the Mord-Sith have never given me that.
No, this is just for the NPC crowd of people in robes walking around.
What is the convoluted reasoning? You're referring to something I've never heard a word about.
No. And I'm confused because it's like everything you've told me up until now makes me believe that Rahl is a deluded sociopath ruling with an iron fist. So these people are like his fearful slaves doing
or
like...
not.
But apparently now they're also just like... They're just like, we love Rahl and he's good and...
I'm very confused as well. Like the first chapter with Darken Rahl, you get this... He is presented as like... Everybody is kind of just like cowering in fear of him.
Yes, yeah.
And that's it. Like, he's buying devotion just purely out of, like, it's not real. It's just out of fear. Here, it's like, oh no, actually they really feel happy and believe something is correct. And they're experiencing peace and love. Yeah. And I'm like, that is very counter to that first introduction. And then I really am curious what the belief system is he's giving them that would make them feel that way. I guess it's related to like when we heard the people in the towns talking about how like he's gonna come and give us all, and he gives us food and all this.
Yeah, but this is like, this is behind the curtain. Do these people feel that same way?
I think they do.
And if so,
because they live in the beautiful...
Can we not give them some sort of grace once again? Because they are literally like under the foot of this horrible magical man?
I think the implication, which is really, really reductive and boring, is that they feel that way because they're being given all of these good things. They live in the pretty palace and everything's nice. They get good vegetarian food. And then they are aware he's doing bad things to give them that. And they're like, we don't care.
Us over them.
Yeah. I think that's all.
If he took over more things, then they could get it too.
Yes.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
I think that's it.
Then you gotta show me it a little bit.
I would love to have seen a bit of that. That would have been interesting.
We needed probably 10 more chapters in the People's Palace, things like that, revolving around it. Rahl could have even been away for a little bit.
Sure.
Maybe they're trying to break in and steal the box. They can't. I don't know. Whatever. Give me a flavor of like what these people are actually like instead of all the BDSM. And
No, keep it.
Well, then you still
add
it. Yeah,
I think we could cut Old John, and I think we could cut the Mud People. That's just my take.
We cannot cut the Mud People.
Some of it.
We need 20 pages of tile making.
I think we could have cut Birdman. I think we could have cut Sidon. I think we could
Don't listen to her. Don't listen to her. We need Birdman.
I think we could have cut Traveling to Shota. Some of the Samuel. We could have gotten rid of the Calthrop. We could have.
How else were we getting out of that cave and blowing that whistle to have all those flies eaten, if not for Old John? Birdman. You confused me.
I just think that all could have happened in like one page. Probably.
Yeah.
Like him receiving a whistle could have been done really quick.
He could have gotten it in a chest in the cave like a real dungeon crawler or something.
I just think that, honestly, even like George could have given it to him.
It could have been George's bird whistle, and you could never make it work.
It could have just been like flavor, like, yeah, or as he goes through his journey, sometimes he blows on it was his dad's, and like a bird comes and we're like, that's cute.
And then in his moment of need,
A lot of
ton
birds come. Is that dramatically less impactful than how it goes? It's not like Birdman means anything.
Birdman means a lot. But listen, the Spirit House needed to happen, so...
Yeah, that's the only part we should keep.
Yeah. They just come upon a Spirit House and get horny.
No, they can... I am not saying they shouldn't go to them people at all. I probably would have put that later. I don't think it's the first place I would have went.
No.
But I think at some point they could have showed up there, and I think the Spirit House could have happened. I don't know. Did we need to talk to the ancestors? I don't know.
It was kind of weird. And we did it twice. Like, I don't know.
No. Anywho. This just felt cutting... like, it was like... Okay, Terry is cutting towards an idea he has in his head of what these people believe that, like, the audience is not privy to. And we're like, I guess that maybe that really went hard when I know what the fuck you're referring.
When you, like, talk about how to write, there's this concept of show, not tell, right?
I think they're familiar.
Terry picked the third option of don't show, don't tell, just say. Just fucking... This is how they are. Don't you hate that? It's like...
I think that's tell and not showing, right? He's telling us.
He didn't even... He's just saying, these idiots feel this way. And it's like... is that true? Which idiots are we even talking about?
Well, the people meditating, you know? I think we're like are we like hating on religion?
Yeah, a little bit. But, you know, for like no reason right now. Believing in Rahl is not a religion. He's just he's a practical person to believe in if you're in this nation. You know? He does have a lot of power and he does get lots of good things for you.
He does.
People have
but
this
that's
much
why
fervor
convoluted
for, like...
is such a specific word. Like, it means a really specific way of, like, coming to a conclusion.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, is it convoluted for them to be like, we want nice things, he give me nice things? Is that convoluted?
People
or
have
is
this much devotion to Trump, and he's not a magic man that can manifest really great things for you.
So all the more reason.
It's almost like simple.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like not convoluted. It's really straightforward, actually, if that's what I'm going off of. And if there is a convoluted reasoning behind it, I don't even know what we're referring to. Explain to me what it is.
To say. They don't see all the torture going on out there in the world. They don't see what Rahl's quads are doing.
But that's what I'm saying. Or do they?
I mean, they do work with dominatrixes who are like covered in blood constantly. So there's signs, you know? It's like that. Like if I was a millionaire, there'd be signs. If I worked for a bad man, there'd be signs.
Right, but like I said, I'd love to hear their like rationale between like, this is the benefit. Like, even if it is like...
That would be hard to write.
I know it would.
Instead, we get Zedd one off, just being like, these idiots.
Okay, they got roasted. Those Buddhists or whatever.
Or whatever, yeah. Fucking monks.
They see two Mord-Sith. I'm assuming the same two that just interacted with Richard.
Of course. Who else?
Couldn't be more Mord-Sith. Yeah, there's something interesting. I wonder why it's two. It's like, this could have functioned exactly the same with one Mord-Sith, but maybe because he needed Richard to be scared.
Yeah, I guess 2 is just inherently scarier than 1, right?
And then 3 seems crazy. 3's like way too many.
That's what I need.
You need all 3?
At least 3, yeah.
The 2 Mord-Sith are heading towards them until they see Kaylin and her Kandar makeup. And they're like, oh, hell no. And they turn right around and head back the other way.
Zedd describes them as sauntering. They're just walking around.
Of course they are.
And their red leathers, like...
Of course they are. That's their whole existence.
It's literally insane. It's fucking crazy.
It's so crazy.
They're not women. They're
do love it.
They're horny bots.
I love
just patrolling. It's like Catwoman in the fucking Batman game. She's like, she can't walk normal. She's just like, That's them. The Mord-Sith are just on patrol. Are there any bad boys out today? Like, that's just they're walking around like that. Like, come on.
That's the best part.
Yeah, I know you love that.
That's the best part.
They're like,
yeah.
Who are the... Oh!
That's when they see Kaylin.
They're fucking out of there.
Yeah, that's pretty much what he wrote.
Yep.
So then they keep walking.
That's called bongo feet, if you were ever wondering what the sound was
Good to
called.
know.
Yeah.
They enter an intersection of enormous halls built in the pattern of a wheel. There's stained glass windows in the hub high overhead, and there's like all colors coming through in the room. I thought that sounded cool and pretty.
Yeah.
And Kaylin asks Zedd which way to go. Zedd picks a hallway and they go down it. Chase is like, how do you know where to go? So many ways you can know, but
I literally, it's like, how could you know? And wizard is not the answer. And it actually is the answer. But
for like the second reach, two ways are, but no, both. Yeah.
Both are. I'm wizard.
Yeah,
Chase is flabbergasted by wizards right now.
He really is. I liked the first one.
Yeah.
I like the information. The People's Palace is built on a pattern of a magical spell I recognize. The entire palace is one giant spell drawn on the face of the ground. It's a power spell meant to protect Darken and magnify his power. A spell to protect him from other wizards. I have not that there are any anymore.
True.
But I guess there were. I have very little power here. I am next to helpless. The core of it is called the Garden of Life. Darken will be there. I do like the idea of the palace being like a big spell. That's very cool.
This palace being built on a runic magical symbol is a very important plot point to Full Metal Alchemist.
Oh. And
I'm wondering, like, what came out first?
I totally can picture Terry sitting with some anime.
Right?
For inspiration. That isn't... Full Metal Alchemist is most certainly not the first iteration of that idea.
No, it can't be.
No way.
But I think that's interesting.
Anyway, yeah. I like that concept. I think this was the first time in my life as a teenager I had ever come across that concept, and the idea of the building being the spell was, like, mind-blowing to me.
Sick. Such a cool idea.
Yeah, so, whatever. I like it still. And then Chase is like, well, what's the second reason? God, this is my second worst.
This is your 13th reason why?
Yeah, the boxes, he's like, oh, because of the boxes, the covers are removed and I can sense where they are.
Good answer. Fine. Whatever.
That's fine.
Yep.
But then in Zedd's head, he thinks something was wrong. He knew what it was to sense one of the boxes. And two should be twice as strong. But the feeling wasn't. It was 3 times as strong. That's how you're going to tell us that information?
Wizard of the First Order. And then by the end of this, unless he's just lying to Kaylin.
No, he is lying. I don't know. This to me just felt like Zedd be like, goo goo gaga, I'm playing with my blocks now. 1, 2, 3. Like, what? Yeah, that's how counting works.
I don't.
The fuck are you talking about?
And it's like, it's not interesting to us because we already know.
I know.
It's not an interesting way for him to find out, and it's not an interesting way for him to reveal that information to us because we already know. He should have gone, I can sense them, and then gone, wait, I feel 3.
I feel 3.
Into a dead run.
Why would you say, I can sense 1 box, then 2 boxes, twice as strong, 3 boxes, 3 times as strong?
Which
you think?
I feel that one.
That's terrible. Really bad.
And then they walk for 2 more hours.
Yeah, it's whatever. Zedd keeps telling Kaylin which way to go. He keeps describing the halls. Each level has a stone of a unique color and type. Stairways are all marble, but they're each a different color. There's a lot of statues. Okay.
Sick.
But yeah, so yeah, we'll have to discuss it with the Kaylin thing because he clearly just stated in a horrible way that he knows that there are 3 boxes in there.
Yes.
Which is information surely we need.
I would think, yeah.
Need to be aware of. They reach the doors of the Garden of Life. Zedd says, this is the place, dear one. The boxes are in here. Darkerwall will be too. She says, thank you, Zedd, and you too, Chase. Then Zedd says, Darkenwall only has 2 boxes. He will be dead soon without your help. So he is lying to her so that she doesn't try to kill him, because he's thinking if she knows he has all 3 boxes, she's 100% gonna walk right in and try to confess him. But if she thinks he only has 2 boxes, she won't do that because he's do you get what I mean? He's trying to be like, if he has 2 boxes, he's gonna die, so don't bother killing yourself over it. He thinks he can reason with her.
He should have been trying to do that this entire walk. Doing it right at the door is for the first time is kind of crazy.
Yeah.
It won't work by his own confession of what
I think
Kandar
he's just hoping.
And he has 3. So like, I don't know, all steam ahead at this point. Kill this man by any means necessary.
That's the thing, because here's the thing. He said when Chase was like, oh, now that she Kandar'd, can she kill him? And Zedd goes, I don't know. So you're telling me there is a chance that Kaylin can kill him. I mean, he thinks probably not, but still, maybe.
Yeah.
And he has all 3 boxes. If anything, your thought at that moment should be like, honestly, I kind of need her to give it a go.
Everyone in this fucking book is Lily Pottering for someone else.
Yeah.
Like, it's like the entire magic system is like...
Right, but except...
you dying for me, no, I will die for you, but you dying for... Wait,
right,
it's only good if I die for you, but then...
Makes sense in terms of... He, right now, is deciding, I will die, you shouldn't die for us, but he is sacrificing the whole world.
Yeah.
Even though Zedd, throughout the whole book, has been the guy to go, like, don't do that, we can't protect each other over the whole world. But that's what he just did in that moment.
I know. Nobody had...
The only way that could maybe make sense is if Zedd said 100% no, Kandar will not help her in killing him. And that is not what he said. He said, I don't know.
I don't know.
And if Zedd is the detail-oriented prophecy... You know what I mean? Like, guy going like, who knows? No, like, meaning, like, he's always being like, who knows? Who knows? So, who knows, bitch? Who knows? Let her try.
Let her go. There's 3 boxes. You gotta do it now.
You have to.
Time to show up.
Why is he willing to let everybody die?
So that Kaylin doesn't die? She will die.
It's absurd even for Richard to make that call. But Zedd really shouldn't make that call. That's really weird.
This girl is dead if she runs in that room and blows her load and doesn't kill him.
Yeah.
And this girl is dead if she runs in that room or doesn't run in that room. She's dead if she just sits there. And the dumbest thing, like, I would have edited this where I would have been like, him sensing the boxes.
Right, the second he walked into the People's Palace, he should have had that thought.
No, I would have flipped this. I would have been like, oh, I can sense where the boxes are. Like, I can feel their magic. As he gets closer. And then when they open the door, she strodes in and he goes, there should have been 2, but I felt the power of 3. Oh, and then end the chapter. Would have been fine.
Okay.
But he also wanted to end both parts of this chapter with, they opened the door to the Garden of Light. They opened the door to the Garden of Light.
But whatever. What? I don't care about that. I don't care about any of that. I care about, does it make sense for Zedd to...
and lying to her makes no sense.
Why would he lie?
I don't understand.
Well, he would lie to save Kaylin because he doesn't think it's going to work.
Either way.
If there's a 1% chance that her doing that will save the world, you need to let her do it, Zedd.
Agreed.
What do you mean?
The only hope they have is one of them figuring it out. Especially now that he's got all 3 boxes.
So Zedd has no powers here. So what if he thinks Kaylin isn't... I'm not going to let Kaylin attempt to do that. Why are they there?
So then why'd you even do this whole mission?
Why are you here? What are you doing?
Literally just turn back. Go to the fucking Panera. In the PP, like what do you go to the food court and hang out?
Broccoli and cheddar soup available at the PP cafeteria. I don't know why they're there.
Do they have dairy?
Well,
they ate cheese, right? They were eating cheese.
They're definitely don't eat meat. I don't know if they're vegans.
No, I don't think they are because I think there was cheese. Someone help me out here.
Are they vegetarian or vegan? I don't know.
And Darken Rahl insisting everyone be vegetarians with him, but Kaylin loading up on those sausages on their first date. Wow. Kind of crazy. But also, Michael post Darken Rahl still serving sausages. What a piece of shit.
Yeah.
He's like, I'll give up my friends and my brother and my whole homeland, but I ain't giving up that sweet sausage. No way.
Yeah, what does he think? He thinks when Darken Rahl is ruling, he's going to keep eating sausage?
Maybe that's why he's cramming him in now.
Don't think so.
He's like, this is my last shot.
He's also not cooking. Ever.
Why?
Because there's no fire.
Holy shit. Yeah, how do they get those sausages? And...
how are they even making stews up in the People's Palace?
What are they doing here in the PP? How they got magic chefs that don't use fire?
Like, do they have some sort of heating mechanism that's just not fire?
Pressure cookers. Everything's pressure cooked and crock-potted.
Cannon.
Magic electricity. Anyway, and that's that.
This is going to be so long
Get ready,
next
guys.
episode.
Get fucking ready to lock in with us. I'm going to have a coffee midway. That's how
I think we're
going
to have to, like, actually pick a weekend or a day off and start filming.
Multiple sessions.
Yeah, we're going to have to, like, stop for lunch. We're going to have to start filming at 9 a.m. on the dot.
Uh-huh.
And do all day long.
I know. I do know.
Because we had a lot to say, and not that much happened.
It's like a 6-page chapter. But that's because we had a lot to set up for next episode. So, like, now it's just going to be a straight run to the finish.
I feel like I have been left with so many unresolved questions.
You have 20 pages.
And I don't know that I'm going to feel satisfied.
I know you won't.
This is the last time that you will see us as people who have
not
finished Wizard's First Rule for the second time. Because technically
that's
we
right.
did finish it one other time.
And it was a long time ago. It will be fresh on our tongues and brains with all of our synthetic...
What are you saying? What word?
Synthesized knowledge.
We'll see the big picture once we finish that
the
chapter.
The machinations will be clear
We'll rise up like Darken Rahl in Minecraft, and we'll see how all the pieces fit together, including old John. I'm sure of it. Including the Calthrop. I just know it.
He's going to be integral.
To this ending.
Calthrop is he's gonna snatch the box and be like this Paltry and break it, and then be like, no, he broke the one we needed. Yeah, I'm sure that's what happened.
I'm excited. I am excited.
I'm excited
for our marathon next
finale.
Time.
We got ideas. We got minisodes. We got projects.
Minisodes. I made the list.
Okay.
Ajax. Reading Ajax's version and going through that. Not like this. Meeting,
we'll call it the Applejacks remix. All right.
Sure. Fan casting. Going through that like blog that was just like filled with dirt on Terry.
Anti-Terry blog.
Oh, yeah, I just want to go through that and really dig in. Oh, and then the other one is us rewatching the very first episode with our predictions and reacting to whatever.
Seeing how right I was.
Whatever it is we said in that video 2 years ago. Those are the big...
Mm-hmm. I like that.
Those are the big episodes in conjunction with our Legend of the Seeker watch. Those are our plans before we get to the next book.
All right.
Okay.
We'll see you at the end, guys.
Goodbye.
Love you. From our PP to yours.
Yes, of course. Bye.
Bye.